What is shagging in the backyard for another episode of, I don't know if we really come up with a name for it yet. Backyard barbecue, backyard chronicles, backyard drinking. What, I'm not really sure. We'll have to come up with something. You know, we're gonna come up with a name for it when we can find a sponsor. That's when we'll come up with a name. That's when we'll come up with a name for it. You guys know my guest, one of my best friends, longtime friend, and the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, Stephen Douglas Kerr. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Thomas Byron Tolbert. How you doing?
Good to have you in the
Good to be here.
in the backyard.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to
Cheers.
to see you. I know you enjoy my Angel gear.
Yeah, that was a direct shot.
That was a direct shot.
Yeah, after the 3-game sweep of my Dodgers over the weekend. Yeah,
I called it a bludgeoning.
It was a
really
bludgeoning.
was.
And by the way, I owe you $100
You do.
from that, so I will hand that to you on my way out.
Why don't you just keep
No.
Because the Dodgers and Angels are going to play again.
No. I don't like you
don't like
house money. I want to just.
I love house money.
No, I want to.
Talk to me, house money.
I want to settle up and we start fresh.
That sucks. I don't like that. I like to carry it over through the season. I'd be like, okay, let's bet again. Let's do it again. Because the Angels ain't sweeping them again. They'll play 3 more times, and I mean, look, this might be the high water mark for the Angels this year. Very well could be. They won 3 in a row. They beat the A's last night. 4 in a row to move. I think they're 4 games under now. So, I take small victories. I'm like just kind of happy.
As you should. It's been a hard couple of decades.
It's been really, really hard.
Can I compliment you though?
Yes.
Fantastic shirt.
Yeah, that's a nice
old school logo, the CA, and
the patch.
I love the patch. That reminds me of my childhood. Growing up,
Bobby Grich,
Brian Downing,
the Hulk.
Yes.
You know, the thing I loved about this was it's like it looked like a jersey, but it's a T-shirt. Yeah. So I don't want to wear a jersey.
No. Nobody
wants to wear a jersey. Yeah. It's like I always tell people, once you're over 30, don't fucking put another man's name on your back. I mean, it's like, okay, and you can't put your own name on it.
Wait, did I tell you my story about my Dodger jersey?
No.
So about a year and a half ago.
That's the one you have now.
Yeah, I have a Dodger jersey. So they traded for Manuel Margot.
Exactly.
And my wife's name, as you know, is Margot. Uh-huh. And Manuel Margot and my Margot spell it the exact same way, Margot. Right? Yep. So I read that they traded for Manuel Margot. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I look up on the Dodger website, the news. He decides to wear number 25. Like I look at the roster, I'm like, Margot, my number 25. I'm like, I'm getting a jersey. Yeah. So and Margot hates baseball. Like I love having the Dodger game on at home. She can't stand it. Baseball season starts and she like audibly goes, oh God, 6 months of this, right? So I buy the jersey. I'm like, I got a jersey with your name on it, right? Like this, and I mean, like this is how much I respect you, honey. She's like, no, you don't actually. So I have this 25 gray Dodger, 25 jersey with Margot on the back. I order it. A week later, by the way, spring training hasn't even started yet. A week later, he gets traded again. He never even suited up for the Dodgers, but I will forever have my Dodgers 25 Margot jersey, my wife's name on the back. So can a grown man have a jersey with his wife's name on it? Is that fair?
No, well, just as long as you don't wear it.
I'm not wearing it.
Yeah, I mean, you wear it to the mall or something.
No, but I wore it during the World Series last year.
Did you?
At home.
Okay.
Watching.
Yeah.
Because I'm wearing it.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to watch baseball, but I'm like, honey, I'm wearing
and that got her excited.
Your jersey. And it was like, all right, what? That didn't really do anything for her.
Really didn't move the needle?
No.
And you're probably the only one that owns a Manuel Margot jersey.
Nobody on earth.
Who else would?
Has a Dodgers 25.
His family doesn't even own that jersey. Like, why do we buy this jersey? You're there for like 2 weeks.
That's right.
We're done.
Right.
Wow, that's I think the last jersey I owned and that I wore was a Dan Marino jersey that somebody got me for my birthday, probably nice. When I was in my 20s.
The white one or the turquoise?
The turquoise one.
Those are nice.
Yeah, it was a nice jersey.
What about taking a glove to the ballpark? At what point do you have to stop doing that, or do you just keep doing that? Like, how old do you have to be to stop bringing your glove to a ballpark as a fan?
I mean, to me, if you can count to 8, don't bring a glove. I mean, stick your hand out there. And catch it.
That's fair.
Because you're not getting line drives anymore because of netting.
That's true.
Right? So you're going to get a fly ball. You should be able to catch. Take your hat off. Catch it with your hat. Catch it with your hands. And I would never bring a glove to the ballpark. I'm just like, if it's hitting me, I'm stabbing it. One hand, I'm good to go. You bring a glove?
No.
Okay. No, you know who brings a glove?
Who?
You'll see him at the ballpark. Jim Harbaugh.
He does?
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic.
He was at I remember catching him at the A's game. He's like there, he's like pounding. He's like at third.
So
he's like,
great.
I'm ready to go, baby.
That's
Let's
so
go.
Great.
Harbaugh awesome. Is classic. I remember seeing him at a Kansas game one time, and he was going to shoot a half-court shot. They didn't choose him randomly. He was like so excited. Yeah. Like he couldn't believe, like, I'm Fog Allen, I'm going to get to shoot like this historic. Like he was like an 8-year-old, but he was genuinely pumped. Yeah. And you can see where that, like, as a player, you probably get behind that. This guy believes it. It's not like BS.
No,
like
it's real.
Yeah, he's totally genuine about all the emotions that he has as a coach. How would you say, transitioning into coaching, your style pretty much is the same as when you came into coaching, I would say. Similar. But did you have to formulate that in your head? Like, what I want to be? I mean, you're going to be yourself, but how does that come across to the players? How do I present that? How does that all go into it, other than that's like X's and O's? How do I lead?
Yeah. No, it's a great question. I mean, I think there is a transition period where the first game you stand on the sidelines, you're like total imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't be here right now. I got the job. I interviewed for it. Yeah, I had all these theories, and then all of a sudden you're standing there like, do I cross my arms? Like, what do I do? What do I do? So there is a period of that where you just feel weird. Like, I've never done this before, and how am I supposed to act? And but I got great advice from a lot of different coaches, my own coaches who I played for, but even other coaches who I visited with. I picked a lot of brains, before I started, and everybody kind of had the same advice in terms of you have to be yourself. Yep. But the best advice I got was from Pete Carroll. I went and watched the Seahawks for a few days in camp, and he really kind of laid it out for me. Like,
and he said, chew a lot of gum.
He was chomping on that gum as he was advising me, for sure. But he really kind of laid out what I maybe had never understood before, but I had experienced with Phil and Pop and Coach Olson back in college. He just talked about values and how the best coaches have a set of values, and those values come alive every single day. And that's what kind of forms the culture. And I watched it for 3 days, like the Seahawks, the practice, the music, Pete's energy. Like, you could see his humanity, his values as a human being, like, just were alive right in front of the team every single day. And so I thought about Phil, and I thought about Pop and how unique and authentic they were. And so Pete kind of helped me understand, like, what culture is about, what authenticity is about, and why it's so powerful. He's been a great mentor and friend to me ever since. So he's awesome.
I know Larry Brown told me something one time when I was interviewing him. We did like an NBC when I was working for NBC, and I was talking to Larry, and I think it was when he was coaching, maybe it was the Pistons, and he told me, and this wasn't on the camera, he just goes, Tom, I got to swallow my ego every single day in this job. He goes, there's so many compromises I have to make to be able to coach a basketball team. How have you found that with the values and maybe having to compromise some of them or be flexible with them as a coach because you're dealing with 15 different
Right.
guys. You can't treat them the same, and you have to find a way to make it work as a coach. How have you found that to have your core values, but also be flexible, even if maybe you don't want to,
Right.
for the betterment of the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to differentiate, what's non-negotiable and
Yeah,
what's negotiable. And to me, all of the basketball stuff is negotiable. How are we going to guard the pick and roll?
yeah,
And you go in with an idea, but um, you got 15 players. You got now these days 15 coaches.
yeah,
You got front office. You got ownership. Everybody's chiming in, and so I think there's a lot of compromise that goes into the basketball stuff. How you're playing, um, what style you're playing, what you're doing defensively. I really rely on our players a lot. I mean, Draymond is the smartest defensive player I've ever been around, and I have no problem just saying, in the middle of the game, if he says, "Hey, let's switch everything," I don't think what we're doing is working. I got no problem.
yeah,
Like, yeah, let's do it, because I think collaboration is a big
yeah.
part of it. Same thing with ideas from other coaches, front office. Like I'm really open because I don't think there's an exact formula that works. It really is more of an art than a science. But I do think you have to uh, be non-negotiable on your values and what's important to you in terms of how the whole thing is going to run. I mean, you just you gotta know how this whole thing is going to operate, and doesn't mean you don't give guys leeway,
Yeah.
but they know. I think the players know what's important, what's non-negotiable. They feel that every day, just the way we treat them and the way we handle our business.
What are things that are important to you as a coach that you try to impart to the team? Like this is what everyone has to be on board
Yeah,
with.
honesty. I mean,
Yeah,
I think it sounds trite, but like everybody's got to be honest with each other because there's so many ways that things can go wrong, and there's so much BS in the NBA with just the drama, and every player's going through stuff, and there's contract stuff. There's of course everyone's got ambition, and if you're not honest with each other and you don't have real conversations, it's gonna fall apart. And I think I try to elicit a lot of conversation, both collectively with the team and then individually with guys. And the easiest guys to coach are the ones who are the most honest. And Steph
yeah.
comes to mind immediately. Like there's no BS. Like everything is very matter of fact. And then it makes those conversations and those decisions really easy. But there are guys who it's hard to reach them and you don't know what they're thinking. But you really have to try as a coach to break down that wall and get to the core of, what they're thinking and what they need, what they want.
How tough is it to convey the message that what's best for the team ultimately is best for
Yeah.
you? Because everyone wants to make money. It's a job, and they want to play as well as they can play. And some players want to shine and do their stuff, and
Right.
some players are more into the team. And I've always thought what's best for the team ultimately is best for all the
Mm-hmm.
individuals because
Mm-hmm.
everybody wins when the team wins. How do you convey that message to everybody? Obviously, you've won 4 titles there. So you've been able to convey that message. Talent has a lot to do with it. We both know that. But how do you convey that
Yeah.
message? Like, look, I know you want this, but
Right.
let's do what's best for the team. And ultimately, it's going to be best for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that is equity built up over time and just, getting to know guys. Kevon Looney immediately comes to mind.
Yeah.
He's been here 10 years. He's been one of the greatest pros and just people in general I've ever been around. And his, year to year, he's in the starting lineup. He's out. He's like, I mean, it's like this, but
Playing, not playing.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he remains just rock steady every year. And I think a lot of that is, the first couple of years, he found his bearings, and but it's the constant communication of, hey, this is the league, right? And the guys, I try to explain the league to our young guys, especially every year. Here's how this works. Right? There's a reason you get paid a lot of money. There's so much interest out there, so many media outlets. So here's where all the money's coming from, which means there's going to be intense fan interest, which means you're going to get booed, you're going to get traded, you're going to get cut. At some point in your career, all this stuff is going to happen, injured. And so you have to understand, like, your job is to make yourself the best asset possible. So how do you do that? You got to be a good player, but you got to be a good teammate too. You got to make yourself valuable to the organization. And I think the hard part for the young guys, especially, is to understand that sometimes that means just staying ready. And if you're not playing, not complaining and staying ready and bringing energy and bringing, personality to the locker room every day. And, but that's a hard message for guys to really learn, and they have to experience it first. But a guy like Loon ends up having a 15-year NBA career because he's so valuable for those reasons, the steadiness, the locker room, maturity, because all that stuff is really important if you want to win. The guys who don't understand that tend to end up, kind of leaving the league and not making it for a long time.
If they don't understand it, do you just go call them into your office and put on all your rings and go, bitch, please? What are you talking about? I'm trying to help you out. Count. Can you count to 9? Boom.
I actually have a 10th.
You do?
Yeah, the Mercury, when I was in Phoenix as the GM of the Suns, the Mercury won the WNBA title.
Yeah.
So they gave me a ring.
Really?
Yeah, they did. I didn't do anything, but they gave me one.
Wow. So you have 10.
I got 10 rings. So.
I like that. Don't just say you have 9 when you have 10, even if you didn't earn it.
Thank you, Mercury.
Just say you got.
I got 10. They gave me one, so I have it.
I got my 10th. Well, then you do have 2 full teams. I told Steve one time he could diagram new plays with all his rings and just say that ring goes here, this ring spaces out here, this ring spaces out there, this goes here. Do you ever look at them and just think, or do you ever think wow, what a ride it's been?
I don't think I've ever had all 9 together.
You never have?
No, because the Warriors ones I have up here in the Bay.
Okay.
And the Bulls and Spurs ones I have down at San Diego, which is kind of our family home where we've been for 20 plus years. And they're in a safe deposit box in San Diego. I need to put them all together.
You do get a picture of them. You need to get that Bill Russell shot.
I did wear. I wore. Before I became Warriors coach, I went to a Halloween party in San Diego 20 years ago, probably. Yeah. And I wore all 5. I dressed up as Eminem, and I just wore them as jewelry. Just not that Eminem has championship rings, but he's got some jewelry.
He does have jewelry. He does have jewelry.
Yeah. Is that a good image for you? Thinking of me?
No, it's a great image for me. How many Eminem songs can you name?
2.
2? Very good. Let's get to this year's team, because there's some other stuff I want to get to and some fun stuff I want to do with you. But this team, boy, it really kind of about face when you got Jimmy.
Yeah.
Right? And it's funny, and tell me if I'm wrong here, that it was interesting to me because I don't think Jimmy was your guys' first choice in free agency. I don't think you guys were Jimmy's first choice in free agency. But at the end of the night, when you don't have anybody to go to the prom with, and you look across the bar and you're like, "Hey, you want to go to the prom?" You're like, "Yeah, sure, let's go." And then all of a sudden, it works out great.
Wait, did you go to the bar in high school while you were thinking about who to take to the prom?
More so than the prom.
Okay,
I didn't go to the prom, or did I go to the prom? I don't think I went to the prom.
Could technically go to a bar while you were in high school at 18.
Yeah, I mean, I might not. I might. Now, actually, this will come as a shock to you. I actually really didn't have my first beer and start drinking. Not like drinking, but drinking until the last 2 months of my senior year. That was the first time I'd had beer. I was 17.
Surprising, because when we met in college, you seemed like a seasoned pro by that
time. I'm a quick learner, Steve.
Yes, you are.
Very, very quick learner. So we definitely did a lot of damage in college.
We had a lot of fun, didn't we?
We had a lot of fun in college. Yeah, we had our
colleges.
I don't think I ever went to a football game without a 12-pack of beer in me. I mean, like, I'm not saying that as a flex. I'm saying that as like I probably needed help, but I just didn't.
It did make the games more interesting.
It did. That and betting. Yeah.
Not that you were betting then.
No, theoretically.
In theory.
In theory, yes. That I would bet. Me and McMillan were betting theoretically. Like, okay, what do you think would happen here if we actually bet? And quick sidetrack before we get to this year's team. Why don't you go ahead and regale everybody with your wagering story that got
you in trouble with Coach Olson?
Got me a call to the coach's office.
Do I have to? I guess I have to.
Yeah. I mean, you did it to me. You owe it to me.
Yeah.
You pretty much.
That's my fault.
Yeah, you fucked me.
So in our locker room in Tucson at U of A, we had a free throw tracker, and we'd take 50 free throws every day. And there was a board, and the managers would write down, each player's name along with how many made out of 50. So, 15 guys, 12 guys, whatever it was. And one day I just thought it would be funny if I erased where it said Tolbert 43 for 50. I erased the 43 for 50. And I thought it'd be funny if I wrote Rams -7 over Bears, 49ers +2 over Jets.
Yeah.
And, and just chuckled to myself as I did it.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah, funny. Yeah. Went back to the dorm.
Ha-ha.
And then the next day, Coach Olson called you into his office.
Called me in my office. Called me in my office. Called me in his office. Sat down, and he goes, "Tom, do you have a gambling problem?" I'm like, "No." And then I had to at least be somewhat truthful. I go, "Well, I bet those little parlay cards, stuff like that." And he just looked at me. Coach always used to do the 2 fingers. All right, be careful. Maybe you shouldn't do that. I'm like, all right, Coach, I got you. Then I walked out of there. I was like, fucking Steve. I go, unbelievable that I had to go in there and meet with Coach Olson.
That was my fault, but to be fair, it's not like you were hiding it either. Because I remember we were all sitting in the locker room one day, and after watching after practice, we're watching the Notre Dame Michigan game. It was the biggest game of the year.
Yep.
And Coach Olson's sitting there, and you walk in. It was back in the day where they would flash the scores on the screen. We didn't have cell phones, so you didn't know what the scores were until they flashed them on the screen. And they didn't even have the crawl. It was just every 10 minutes they would just start flashing scores. And you walked in, somebody walks in and goes, "Hey, has anybody heard the USC Nebraska score?" Coach Olson was like, I think USC was up 14-10. And then you pipe in, you go, "What's the score of Rice Yale?"
Rice Tulane.
Rice Tulane. And poor Coach Olson. Coach Olson just went right by him. I haven't seen that one, Tom. Meanwhile, we're like, Jesus. Tom's got Rice +7.5.
It's all about the value, Steve.
You had great value.
I had great value
in that game.
I had great value. So back to this year, you get Jimmy and things turn.
Yeah.
How did you see that working when you brought in Jimmy? I know Mike was a huge proponent of bringing him in since he played with him in Chicago, but how did you think it was going to work? And then when it started working, what'd you think? Your vision of him coming in and then the realization of what it was, were they 2 different things?
Well, first of all, I was all for it just because we had nothing going.
Yeah.
We were at the point in the season where you could just feel it. We were dead in the water, and, we were below 500. And it had been a long enough stretch where it was like, all right, this isn't working. So I think it's well documented. We were trying to get Kevin Durant.
Yep.
That didn't happen. Mike calls me and he goes, "Hey, I think we're just going to trade for Jimmy Butler. I'm going to vouch for him. We played with him for 3 years in Chicago. Guy's a gamer, hell of a player. I think this is going to work." And I said, "Great, let's do it." but more than anything, it was just we needed a change. I didn't know his game that well, you know. I mean, we obviously only play Miami a couple times a year, and you know, I've watched him and been impressed, but he doesn't have the game that jumps off the screen to you, right? Skill wise, and you watch him, and I think once you see him every day, you realize why he's so good. But if you're just watching him from afar, like he's not a great shooter, he's not super athletic. So I didn't really know what kind of impact he would have, but literally, like within a game or two, it was like, oh yeah, this guy's really good. And what he does that's so special is he controls the game. There's a feel, there's a vibe. It's like a great quarterback who's like, just every possession is just, even on a possession where, you know, it doesn't end in a touchdown, like you just feel like that guy's in control, you know, of the game. And it's no coincidence that our defense, I think the last 2 months of the season after we got Jimmy, was if not number one, it was like top 3. And it's funny because we didn't really do anything different from a scheme standpoint. And Jimmy's a good defender, but you know, he's not Dennis Rodman out there.
Yeah.
But to me, it was like we became a great defense because Jimmy was controlling the game on the offensive end, and he never turns it over.
Yep.
Got to the line, which meant we were constantly setting up our defense in the half court instead of like turning it over or taking a bad shot and now being vulnerable in transition. So I just think the way he impacts the game is subtle, but he's in complete control.
Well, what I don't fully appreciate until I get a chance to see him is their mind.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't know if I didn't watch Draymond every game, not every game, but most games throughout the course of his career. I could see where maybe I wouldn't understand his impact. You watch him every day, and you understand how smart he is, how he controls the defense, how he may be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, help defender of all time. Like, he's incredible at that. And just offensively, he did have the perfect blend with Steph and Clay. Like, he was able to get to the top of the key and kind of run the show, and it worked out perfectly for him because he had the mind to do it. But I don't think that's something you can appreciate. You can appreciate all the other stuff, but you don't appreciate somebody's savvy, somebody's IQ. And I didn't know that about Jimmy. Like, I knew he was a gamer, but I didn't know that about him. So when I watched him play, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's real.
I get it now.
I get it. Yeah.
Right. I get it.
Same way. You know, that was the same thing for us. It didn't take much to adapt because Jimmy's not a guy who needs plays. I'm not sure he's even a guy who likes plays. You know, he just wants to get the ball and isolate and pick the defense apart. Yeah. And so the main thing we had to teach the guys, and Jimmy had to help us teach the guys, was just spacing. We're going to give the ball to Jimmy, and you guys got to space. And as long as we had shooting around him, which we did, you know, Quentin Post played a big role down the stretch because of that. Obviously Steph and, you know, Buddy, Moses, you know, Brandon shot it well down the stretch. Like, we would just give the ball to Jimmy and get spaced, and he would create something, get fouled or get us a good shot over and over again. And obviously once Steph got hurt in the playoffs, and we didn't have as much shooting, we weren't playing Moody and Quentin Post as much. All of a sudden, not as much shooting. Like, all right, it doesn't, you know, we can't fully take advantage of Jimmy's game. And so I think that's where we kind of ran into a wall there with Minnesota.
Well, it's funny because people ask me, like, what do you do without Steph? And kind of flippantly, I go, well, you're screwed. I go, the whole offense is built around what Steph can do. And they're like, well, is that smart? I'm like, well, ask Denver if it's smart to build an offense around Jokic. Or, I mean, it's just, that's what you do for your best player. You build an offense around your best player. And if you lose your best player, I mean, you know, you're screwed at that point. It just, I mean, it happens. But I felt like you is like, if he could have stayed healthy, I don't know if you beat Minnesota. Like, I think you do, but who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Who cares? But, like, I thought the way you guys were playing, you could have had a crack at it, at least a good swing at it. And that's what I would have liked to see. Like when Tatum goes down, it stinks.
I know.
Cavaliers had all kinds of missing players. Like the playoffs, you just want to see teams healthy. But it would have been nice the way you guys were playing if Steph would have remained healthy. Because I thought you guys matched up with everybody except maybe OKC. But OKC, I mean, they had their hands full against Denver. But I thought you guys had a crack at it.
We did. I mean, we were top 5 or 6 in both offense and defense after we got Jimmy. And that's ultimately, if you want to win a title, you have to be really good at both ends.
Yeah.
And we were good at both ends. I mean, we weren't as talented as our teams, 5-6 years ago, clearly, but we had a formula. It was clicking. Our guys believed. We made a hell of a run. I mean, to win Game 7 in Houston, to have a shot against Minnesota, winning Game 1. We felt great about the run. And then ultimately what we all know is that a lot of these series and playoff runs are determined by injuries and a little bit of shooting luck. And so, Steph goes down. We're not winning. We thought we could, try to extend the series. I think Game 3 was the key. If we had been able to pull that out, I think we had a 6-point lead mid-fourth.
Yeah.
We could have found a way. Steph probably would have been back for Game 6, and I think we had a real shot. But to expect to beat Minnesota basically 4 times without Steph, highly unlikely.
Yeah.
And they definitely broke us. Those 4th and 5th games, they broke our defense and clearly were the better team, and that's why they moved on.
Yeah. Were you here maybe for the tail end of the Belt Wars?
I'm sorry, the Belt
Wars. Everybody's a sports fan in the Bay Area knows when I say Belt Wars what I'm talking about. It's Brandon Belt.
Okay.
And it was litigated. It could have been, if I wanted to, have it litigated daily on the sports show. Whether he's good or he's not good. Look at his OPS. Yeah, but look at the slumpy shoulders. Oh, but look at the run saved. Yeah, but he won't swing outside the zone when there's a guy on second base with 2 outs. He won't expand his zone at all. It was this whole thing back and forth with Brandon Belt. Like, there was a big faction that, I love this guy. The big faction were like, get rid of this guy. I'm tired of the droopy dog look. Oh, yeah, but he has an 830 OPS. So I liked Brandon Belt. I was a fan of his. But it was just funny that I could say Brandon Belt, and it was like, okay, here we go. We get 2 hours of radio out of this. It's absurd.
He was a lightning rod.
He was a lightning rod, which brings me to Jonathan Kaminga. I want to ask you about, because you've gone over this over and over, but do you understand the fascination with him and how anytime he gets brought up, it's like a huge conversation, which kind of reminds me of Brandon Belt?
I definitely understand the fascination, and I understand the whether it's controversy, discussion, however you want to call it, because we are in this era where the Steph era is fading, and we're looking at the next era. And Jonathan is clearly, super talented player, and the fit hasn't been seamless, obviously. So there's plenty to discuss. So it doesn't shock me at all that that he's a lightning rod like Brandon Belt.
Well, it's interesting because he has skills, but we talk about Steph, and it's fitting around Steph and doing what's best for the team with Steph. I guess that brings me to next question. How much do you guys say, and by you guys, I mean you, Lacobs, Dunleavy, kind of the people that are making the decisions, how much do you go all in, and what does all in mean over the next couple of years? Does all in mean hey, what? Yeah, 2-3 years from now, it's going to be like a desert up in here. Right. We're just going to go for it and sink every asset we have, draft capital, young players. Let's get the best players we have and give ourselves 2 years where we're a top 5 team. Or do you have to walk that line between, okay, we want to give ourselves a really good crack at it, but we got to have some water at the end of that. I mean, we can't just be out here starving and no hydration in a desert. How do you walk that line between, okay, probably got 2 more years of Steph. Who knows, though?
Yeah.
All right? It could be 3, it could be 4. I watched
Sure.
LeBron do it. And I know that's an anomaly. How do you walk that line?
I think we're walking it right now. I think the Jimmy trade was a clear indication that we're going for it the next couple of years. You know, they gave Jimmy the extension. His contract lines up with Draymond's and Steph's. They each have 2 years remaining. Jimmy is one of the best players in the league. We instantly became one of the best teams in the league when he got here. And so we're going for it these next 2 years. If it's not my job, here's the bunny. What's up, Brownie? We're not in a position because Steph's 37, Jimmy 36, Draymond 35. It's not my job; it's Mike's job. To determine all this stuff. But can you imagine trading away your next 7 drafts? With a team of, built around 3 guys who were 36, 37. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? So I think what we're doing makes sense. We got Jimmy. I think finding, another cornerstone next to Steph for these last couple of years was crucial. That's the hard part. And these last couple of years have shown that, it's been really hard, after we won our title in 22. Last couple of years have been tough. We needed somebody like Jimmy. Well, we got him now. He's still really good. I think we're set up to go for it the next 2 years, but you don't give up, 4 firsts and 3 swaps, and not when your guys are 37. So I think that's how we're operating. That's how Mike is operating. I think he's fantastic at his job. And my job is to, coach the team and see what we can do.
I've talked to you about this, but you've never, because I think people assume Steve's won 4 championships. It makes X amount of money. He's the guy that controls everything. And if he wants something, he gets it. He'll just do he has final say. Is that something you ever wanted or ever?
No.
I know you wanted to coach.
Yeah, no. And I think it's been proven in the NBA that, you need a separation of church and state. The situations where over the last couple of decades, there's been several where, the coach is also the GM, is president, doing everything. They haven't gone very well. And I think from a coach's standpoint, we're super emotional after every game. Somebody plays poorly. It's like, trade that. We got to trade him. The next day that guy plays great. We got to give him an extension. Somebody else plays great against us. We got to trade for that guy. It's like, you can't live that way. And it's all emotional and irrational as a coach. And so the GM job needs to be separate. You need somebody with a big picture view. And then those 2 jobs have to be collaborative. And that's why I've been so lucky to have first Bob and now Mike as partners to go through this process where you work together, you get through the emotional aspect of it, you reach a good sort of rational place and you move forward. That's how it should be, and that's how we operate.
Can we get rid of the fucking trade swap?
I know, right?
Either you trade a pick or you don't trade a pick.
And the protection, I'm
the
okay.
Protections
maybe lottery protected. If you want to say, all right, lottery protected or unprotected, but the 1 through 8, we have a trade. I think that when the Jordan Poole, Chris Paul trade, we gave Washington a pick that's protected to 21.
Yeah.
But then it's so they get it if it's 22 to 30. But then if it's not in 22 to 30, something else happens. I'm so confused by all these swaps and these trades. It's I don't know how fans can follow it if I can't follow it. So I'd like to get rid of that.
I just want to fucking trade.
It's like the NFL.
Trade.
It's like the NFL.
That's it. Yeah.
You just trade a first. There's no protections. I agree.
No contingencies.
Yeah.
I get your first in 27. Yes. Okay. Here you go.
Yeah.
Take it.
Perfect.
Now, what pick was it? Is it odd? Oh shit. fucking 13th pick. Oh,
it's
how great would
protected
that
on
be?
odd numbers,
Even.
but not
It'd
even
be like a roulette wheel. Even protected. Oh, you asked for it. You picked her up. I tried my best not to have her in your lap. How have you changed over the years from your first year coaching to your last year coaching, dealing with the emotions? Because I know how invested you are in this, and I know you wear your emotions on your sleeve. I miss the snapping the grease boards occasionally. But for those that don't know, Steve and I will talk I would say, no, I wouldn't even say most. We'll talk frequently throughout the course of the season after the games. We'll chat about the game, chat about certain plays of the game and whatever. And I'll call Steve. Steve will call me unless it's a tough loss. And I'm like, if he wants to talk, he can call me. I'm not going to call him
This is true.
unless he feels like it. If he feels like it, I'm here. He knows I'm driving home. How have you handled that? Because it's tough. I mean, you're going to lose. Well, I mean, for the first 5 years, you didn't lose a whole lot. You just kind of like, well, hey, this is great. I drive home happy every game. This is awesome. How have you dealt with that through the course of your coaching career, learning how to kind of internalize it, flush it? When do you flush it? All those sort of things.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I've definitely calmed down a little bit from my first 5 or 6 years. I don't think I get as many technicals. I don't think I snap as much. Yeah. Draymond and I used to get into screaming matches 3 times a year. I don't remember the last one we've had. We're way more collaborative now. We both have kind of calmed down in our old age. I think maybe where I've gotten a little bit better is forgiving myself. I remember a couple of years ago, I came home from a road trip from a game. You get home in the middle of the night, and I made a terrible decision that cost us a game. And I get in bed, it's 2 a.m., and I'm like tossing and turning, and I'm heavy sighing. And Margot's like, I wake her up with my heavy sighing, and she's like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "I fucking blew that game tonight." She goes, "It's November." I'm like, you're right. I got to calm down. But no, you know this from me, from playing, with me.
Yeah.
Like I beat myself up. I'm my own worst critic, and it's probably my biggest weakness is just being hard on myself. And I think the last couple of years, I've finally understood, like, I'm going to make some decisions that don't go well, that backfire. Just like as a player, you're going to turn it over. You're going to miss a big shot. And it's actually very similar as a coach, because none of these decisions are like foolproof. It's just like, you're giving, you're trying to give your team the best chance to win, and you're going to make some decisions that don't go well and they backfire. If you beat yourself up, it's not helping anybody. And I think I've finally calmed down a little bit and given myself a break in that regard.
Look, I think a lot of this stuff is DNA. It's in us, the way we act. Some of it is learned behavior. But I'm curious, where do you think that comes from? You being so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Because when we played together, you were always hard on yourself. If we happen to lose, I mean, you're fucking still not over the Oklahoma game.
I'm not.
I mean, you're not. Yeah. I mean, it's absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, I it's so funny because
it's not that funny.
You're right. It's not that funny. Look, I mean, I forgave you after 28 years. I was like, fucking finally. I go, Jesus. Yeah, he didn't mean to miss all those shots, Tom. Let him now. I wasn't very good that game either. But I've managed to kind of like, it's over now.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't watched the game.
I will never watch.
I'm never going to watch that game ever. But where does that come from? Kind of just being so hard on yourself. Because you told me stories when you're in Little League how hard you were on yourself and all that. Is that just the way you've always been?
We had a family Easter egg hunt. I was 5 years old, at my cousin's house, and great backyard like this, like eggs hidden everywhere. And they told us, there's like 15 cousins and me, and the parents, like my aunt and uncle. They go, all right, eggs hidden, but there's a golden egg. That's the big prize. There's a golden egg. I'm like, I'm 5, right? I'm like, I'm getting the golden egg. I'm getting the golden egg. Somebody else finds a gold. I found it. I'm like across here. I found it. I found the golden egg. I fall down on the ground. No. My
Oh no.
No, my parents are like, oh God, here we go. My cousins are looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid? I don't know. I was born with this like insane competitive desire that bordered on insanity. I have no idea where it came from, and I mean, I can't answer that. It's just, I mean, it's just I am who I am.
DNA.
And, yeah.
Fucking Easter Bunny is like, holy shit, this fucking kid.
Easter Bunny's shaking his head like, what the hell's the matter with this
fucking
kid?
golden egg? Good Lord.
The jerk off.
You were like fucking Augustus Klopp and fucking Willy Wonka. You're the little kid. Yeah, I want the egg. Everything.
Never good when the Easter Bunny is shaking his head, just thinking, man, that kid's a lost cause.
Never good. Although I gotta say, it has given us you snapping grease boards. I mean, that you haven't done that in a while either.
No,
I think you got one this year, didn't you?
I broke one.
You broke one.
Yeah.
Is there a technique to like being able to?
Yeah.
Is it over the knee?
So you got the grease marker, right?
Yes.
With the plastic cap.
Yep.
So you hold that, and then the cap is is like sticking out.
Yep.
And you and it happened by accident, but when you slam the board with the cap, it automatically breaks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's the sharpness of the.
What a happy coincidence.
Cap. Happy coincidence. But I do remember one time I did it in a timeout. Like as the timeout started, I'm like, fuck. And my hand started bleeding, but I didn't realize it. And I go into the huddle. I'm like, all right, guys. All right, we're going to be all right. But look, we got to settle in. All right, we got to settle in. We got to show some poise. All right, here's what we're going to run. And I start blood dripping on the floor. Like, somebody's like, Coach, your hand's bleeding. I was like, oh, sorry. The message of poise and your hand bleeding doesn't go hand in hand. Didn't resonate.
That's a good. You should have just drawn in the blood. Okay, here's an X. Blood. Here's a 0. Here's a 0.
Oh,
I'd like to get my DNA off this just for the time being. Give me real quick. You played for Phil. You played for Pop. It's so funny because I can never imagine those two hanging out.
No,
any day of the year, like ever. But they're both great coaches in their separate ways. What did you pick up from them that you apply to coaching now?
Man. Yeah, they're two of the greatest ever. Yep. Couldn't be more different. Phil was Native American spirituality, Zen Buddhism, mindfulness, meditation, visualization. He was out there, but it was all genuine and authentic. Pop was the military guy. Be on time. We're going to outwork everybody. Yep. But they were both so interesting as people, authentic, great perspective on the world. They kind of knew what was happening in the world. They understood how to put basketball in its perspective for the players so that the players knew, like, we're going to play our ass off. We're going to do everything we can to win, but it's not really that important in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. It's a really good balance to have as a player if you can find that. And they both went about it in totally different ways, but it was awesome. Just the way they approached every single day. It was authentic. It was real. Couldn't wait to get to work because you enjoyed what they were bringing every day. Just from a perspective of, team building and chemistry, and like they made every day fun and interesting. And they were both just incredible. And there's a reason, they had that success. It was obviously they both had talent, but they knew how to put that together and how to put a team together.
I always felt like in watching the Warriors when you took over as coach, that the part of Phil Jackson that I saw was that he wanted a very democratic offense, right? It was going to be everybody touches it, everybody moves, everybody's involved. you're a role player in that. And we both know how much it means for a role player to be involved in an offense, right? Whether you're setting a pick, hitting a shot, getting an offensive rebound, getting an extra possession for your team, like just something where you feel like you're involved. And I always felt like you brought that to the Warriors, where it was important to you to run that type of offense where everyone's involved and everyone's doing something. How much was that informed by how Phil coached and just kind of your career too? Like, you played on teams. I mean, you were in Orlando with me where you just basically just fucking go stand in the corner.
Right.
That's no fun. I mean, that's not basketball. But
no.
How much did that kind of inform the way you wanted to coach?
Hugely important. You know, the triangle offense was very unique at the time. Nobody else ran it. And talking to Phil, once I was there, he explained to me, and he writes about this in Sacred Hoops, which is a fantastic basketball book, but kind of a book about life. And that I highly recommend that to anybody out there to read that book. But he explained to me that the part of the reasoning for running the triangle was that all five guys are constantly engaged and touching the ball. So he said, I wanted an offense that would mirror the chemistry and the culture that I'm trying to bring, where everybody matters, everybody's important.
Yeah.
And if you think about it in anything, any endeavor, if you feel valued and you're actually engaged, you're going to bring your best self, you know? And so I when I was there, I experienced that. I mean, instead of being out in the parking lot, you know, like standing on the weak side while the two best players played pick and roll, and you're just kind of standing there, and you're constantly involved and engaged, and now you feel good about yourself. And that was 100% part of the philosophy behind the way we played. And we do have a lot of triangle concepts within our offense. All the split cuts, when we throw it into the post, Steph is getting a screen and we're, you know, curling and going to the rim, and the other guy's coming off for a shot. Like, that's all from the triangle. But the other part of the offense came from Pop in San Antonio, the motion where we're swinging it side to side. And so it really was a kind of a hybrid offense between Pop and Phil. But the philosophy from both guys was this, you know, ball movement leads to player engagement, leads to empowerment, leads to confidence, leads to everybody wanting to be themselves, be the best version of themselves. And it's a powerful force.
The funny thing is that I don't know. I haven't read that book. I'll definitely have to check it out. I'm reading the Earl Weaver book right now, which is fantastic. The Earl Weaver book is great. I don't know if Pop has a book, but I'm assuming, knowing Pop a little bit, Mr. Get Over Yourself, that he wouldn't even want a book because he wouldn't think himself that important enough to have a book. That's the thing about Pop. This whole thing to him is like, it's super important in the moment. And then after, it's like, whatever, just coach a basketball team. Let's go have a good meal, drink some wine, and I don't even want to talk about hoops.
It's true, and part of that is just his genuine humility, and part of it is his philosophy that it has to be about the players. I remember him telling me one time, he goes, I'm never going to do a commercial. I'm never going to go on a late night talk show. I'm never going to write a book. Because as soon as I do any of that, the players are going to be watching at home like, oh, he's on the fucking Jay Leno show. Like,
jerk off.
But that's part of Pop's vibe, is like, no, it's about the players. And I always appreciated that.
So we probably shouldn't hold our breaths for a Steve Kerr book anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. Somebody wrote one about me a few years ago.
Did they really? Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And it was trying to remember the guy who used to be the writer in Sacramento who covered the Kings. Anyway, he called me and or emailed me. He said, "Hey, I'm writing a book about you. Good news. I'm not going to need you for that, that much time. Just maybe once a month for a few hours." I was like, "Oh, I don't want a book written about me."
Yeah.
And I tried to dissuade him, but anyway. I couldn't, and he wrote the book. And so now I have people come up and go, "Hey, I read your book." Like, I don't have a book.
I don't have a book.
But, anyway.
No, I think you'd be more like Pop in that regard. Like, what do I need a book for?
Yeah. I don't love the idea. And I mean, who knows? Maybe once I'm retired, maybe I'll be bored and I'll think, but while I'm coaching, I don't need anything like that.
Well, I think that's one thing I mean, look, I appreciate a lot about you as a coach. The one thing I appreciate maybe the most, and all good coaches have this, is you deflect the stop. You deflect the good and you wear the bad. In that if something bad goes happen, it's on me, it's my fault. And even if it isn't, I'll address that in the locker room.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to address it with you guys. I'll wear it.
Yeah.
If we play well and things are going great, it's all the players.
Yeah.
Players do that. And there may be, a little bit of truth to each of that. But no, I appreciate that about you, that's something that you just say, look, I don't want the credit. I don't need the credit. Players get the credit. I'll take the blame.
I do think that's important. I think of Steve Nash sometimes, one of my favorite players. When I was GM in Phoenix, he was our point guard, obviously, and best player. My favorite quality of Steve's was he would throw a perfect pass to somebody, and they would drop it out of bounds, and he'd go, my fault, my fault, my fault. And it was so powerful. It was just, you're watching, you're like, come on, man, that was perfect pass. But it's how great is that to just take the pressure off of someone else, just say, hey, I got this, my fault. That's how leadership, I think, looks. And I saw it with Steve Nash. I saw it with Tim Duncan. I think that's every coach's job, is to absorb the blame, deflect anything, because players got so much pressure on them, and they're the ones who are doing the work, and so if you can take some of the heat off of them, and there's also times where it genuinely is my fault. I make a decision that cost us, and I should take the blame, but I think that's a leader's job all the time.
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you played, so you know this. I've been in this business a long time, and people would always get on me. Why don't you get on the coach? Why don't you, get on the manager? Why don't you do this? And I'm like, because it's the players. Like, I don't mind ripping the players. I don't mind giving the players credit. But to me, the coach is a smaller fraction of what's happening with the team. And it's not really X's and O's. It's more, can you lead men? Do they want to play for all that kind of stuff? But I always felt like when I played, if we lost, that was on us.
Right.
I don't think I ever looked at the bench and said, fucking Nelly, nice fucking call. Like, I just didn't, right? I'm the one that missed a shot.
Right.
Or they made the shot, or what, I didn't rotate, or I didn't do something. And if we won, it wasn't a great play call. It was just like, hey, Mully hit the shot, or what a move by Timmy, or whatever it is. Like, and that's just the way I feel. Now, I'm not saying coaches. Can I get you one more?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to just leave it there then for promotional purposes. Not that I'm getting anything, but, Ghost Town will probably enjoy that. But I always just felt like the players are the ones that have to execute everything that goes on out there. Of course, we are the ones that fucking forget plays coming out of a huddle, too.
True.
Which probably happens. Yeah. I'm sure you've had that happen before.
Many times.
Yeah, many times. But I had it happen. And it was a play for the guy. I was like, how do you fucking forget the play? It's for you.
You can't forget your own play.
You only have 2 of them. Maybe you only have 1 of them. I'm not really sure how many you have, but you should remember your own play. Give me a little taste of. I know we talked about this when they were doing the Last Dance with the Bulls. Was that? I remember we were in Tucson. You won't remember this, but we were in Tucson hanging out as during the off season. It's between Orlando and Chicago, and you didn't know where you're going to go, and you end up going to Chicago. Were there other teams that were interested at that point, or were you just like, you know what, this looks like it fits me?
Yeah.
So it's just like Phil saw something in you, thought you could fit the offense. Because I mean, it was like, man, that was a perfect offense for you and the perfect coach for you, and that's kind of what it's like for role players. You got to find the right situation, somebody believes in you, and you can have a nice career, or better than nice career. But talk about that, going to Chicago for the first time and getting that phone call and thinking, oh, that'll be interesting, Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, my career was in trouble. I mean, after my 5th year, maybe 4th year, I can't remember. 4th year, I think, when I got traded to Orlando, I was with you, barely played.
Yep.
After a few years in Cleveland, Phoenix. So nobody called me, a free agent, and Chicago called and said, "Hey, you want to come to camp, non-guaranteed?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I do." And I had watched John Paxson play for years, and I loved the triangle. I loved the way Paxson played, and I thought that's kind of my style of offense. And so I jumped at it and felt like it was probably the best fit for me. And because I wasn't really a point guard, I wasn't a two guard. I was just kind of a guard. And the triangle just provided me with the protection I needed in terms of getting hounded by point guards up and down the floor. It was really a two guard front offense. And then, they had Scotty and Michael and behind the play, I could guard the smaller guard. And, it just seemed like a good fit watching Paxson and saved my career going there.
Scotty I still think he's underappreciated for how great he was. I don't think people realize how great he was defensively, how long he was. Like when you guys had Harper, and it was Jordan Harper and him out there. It's like fucking good luck getting into your offense. It was like
and Rodman,
just made Rodman behind.
Yeah, and then Kukoc, sometimes was the fifth guy, and they'd switch everything. And it was like, I don't know what you do. That team was kind of ahead of its time. With the playing smaller, like removing the 7-foot center from the equation. I mean, Nelly was ahead of his time with you guys. You played some center with the Warriors, so. I always thought Nelly was ahead of his time. but you
ass kicked at a lot of center.
I did. Me too. But no, I always thought those Bulls teams and Phil were ahead of their time in terms of size everywhere, switching everything. It was a pretty unique team.
So what were your thoughts? So you were there first when Jordan took off, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to play baseball. Yeah. So he comes back, you guys lose to the Magic in the playoffs that year. And that was 45 Jordan. He wasn't quite Jordan. When he came back for the next year, and you'd watch Jordan, you know who Jordan was, you know how good he was. But what were your thoughts practicing against him and really seeing him up close and personal? Was it just like, holy fuck, this guy's insane?
Yeah, it was it was incredible. Surreal, really, when he came back. 'Cause he came back with 17 games left in the season. It was like out of nowhere. He just shows up to practice and scrimmages with us one day, and everyone's like, what the hell's going on here? And then a couple days later, he's like, sends out the fax. I'm back.
The fax.
The fax.
Yeah. Just the fax.
When faxes existed. Yeah. And then we play out the season, but it's like every day, it's like, this is Michael Jordan, and it's crazy. And then obviously came back the following year, pissed off because we had lost and, in much better shape, much better rhythm. And that was a 72-win season. But, it was surreal playing next to him. It was like you had to get over that awe pretty quickly if you could, because we were like everybody else, just watching him in awe.
Any similarities between the 72-win team and the 73-win team that you coached here?
Just the confidence, the swagger. I mean, both teams just felt like there's no way we're losing. And when you did lose, it was a shock. And then both teams were so competitive. Draymond and Steph, and just the competitive nature of our guys. Just like, Michael and Scotty, it's like you lose one, it's like, fuck that, we're going to win 10 in a row. Yeah. And then you win 10 in a row, and you repeat that cycle for 5-6 months. And it's like, that's the recipe for a 70-win season.
What are your thoughts on basketball, the state of basketball as it is right now?
I actually like the game more than most people. I know everyone talks about the threes, but I think I like the player versatility. I like the fact that teams are putting 5 guys out there who can dribble, pass, and shoot. I like that part of it. I like the pace. I think the skill level, the talent level is really high. There's a lot of great players. I do think we can make some tweaks to improve the game. I hate the CBA, the new CBA. I hate the fact that teams are penalized so heavily for building a good team.
Yeah.
And it's new. I mean, we're all still getting used to it. It's only a year old. But you look at, teams like Indiana and Oklahoma City, Minnesota, here they are, conference finalists. They've all done a phenomenal job. New York, they've all done an amazing job team building. Like, their fans should get to watch those teams for the next 6-7 years. Yeah. But the rules are you can't afford to. You immediately have to break up your team. I think that's terrible for the league, for the fans. So I don't know if there's anything we can do at this point, but it sure feels like there should be some tweaks to allow teams to stay together when they've built something special.
No, I totally agree with you. I let me ask you this about the 3-point shot, because I think there's too many threes in the game, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Here's the way I look at it. When the 3-point shot first came into existence, remember, it was like John Sunvold and Mike Bratz, and if somebody shot a 3-pointer, you're like, oh, somebody shot a 3. This is incredible. It had to be a set shot. Pass it to them. And now guys are just like shooting. But so 50% always was the goal, to shoot 50% as a team. I remember when the Lakers, I don't know if it was 85, 86, shot 51-1, I think it was. It is like, damn,
from the field overall.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. A team shooting over 50%. Yeah. Like, that was the goal. So 50% is the equivalent of 33% from 3, which for a while, that's kind of what 3-point shot was, 33, 34, 35%. I think now with guys shooting upwards of 40, 42, 43, 38's probably where you draw the line between a good 3-point shooter and not. And there's a lot of those in the league. I think the risk reward is gone. I still think shooting 50% is like a goal, but it doesn't matter as much anymore because it's about how many points you get versus how many shots you take and the efficiency angle, right? And I just think it's because why would I take it 2 when 3s are so much easier to make and I get an extra point? So it makes total sense to me. But I think we need to find a way to bring that back into balance where the 3-point shot, a good 3-point shooter shoots 34, 35%. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you chop off the corner 3s and just move everything up. But I think it's gotten so out of whack now because guys shoot it at such a high clip.
Right.
They don't need to shoot 2s anymore.
Yeah.
That's my only concern.
No, I actually agree with that. And I think, one of the things that everybody's realized too is that if you shoot 3s, there's a lot of long rebounds. And so now everyone's crashing. And so, the analytics stuff has made everybody smarter for sure.
Yep.
And over the last 10 years, I mean, Mike D'Antoni really started in Phoenix shooting a lot of 3s. He turned Sean Marion from a 3 to a 4, Mari Stoudemire from a 4 to a 5.
Yep.
And now you're everybody's shooting 3s and you're running and there's pace. And it was like, oh, everyone kind of looked at that like, oh, wow, this is different. So he started it. And then I think Daryl Morey in Houston, remember the team in 17 that took missed 28 straight 3s against us in Game 7. But there's definitely been this awareness and evolution over the last 15 years. Like, it actually does make sense. It's one of the reasons we shot 40 per game this year. We just looked at it. We're like, we can't win at a high level unless we shoot a ton of 3s. And so we shot a ton of 3s and it makes sense. But you start what everyone has learned over the last decade is the sort of unintended consequences. And that leads to other strategies. So long shot, long rebound, let's crash. So the last few years now, everybody, instead of sprinting back on defense because you're terrified of a fast break layup, everybody's crashing now and you're generating extra possessions. So you picture a missed 3, long rebound. It's really a jump ball at that point, But if you're shooting a 2, the defense has the advantage because everyone's already on the inside of their man. Chances are the ball's coming off softly. So with the 3s, now it's like you got to crash. You picture these possessions where you stop them, they shoot a 3, long rebound, you get another one, kick it out, another 3, and it's like, keep shooting 3s because the math makes sense. You win the possession battle by crashing. And so it's changed the game dramatically. I agree with you. I think there's too many. I would love to see what would happen if you cut off the corner 3. I think it would be fascinating. I think the league should do it in the G League experiment with it. That's something they do really well. The league experiments with different stuff in the G League, and then you kind of see how it plays out. I think they should experiment with no more illegal defense in the paint. Agree. Like, who cares? Like, if you can't shoot, I'm going to stand right in the middle of the paint, you know? And if the offensive coach says, all right, you're going to stand in the middle of the paint, I better put a shooter out there. Like, that's basketball. So there's a few things like that I think the league should look at.
Does efficiency, and now I'm talking about analytics, because here's what I've wondered, and this includes baseball as well. Does efficiency lead to entertainment? Just because it's more efficient for you to do something as a team, which is what you should do.
Right.
You're trying to win games. You're not concerned about the overall entertainment of the league. You're concerned about, well, am I going to get another contract? Do I have a job? I'm trying to win, trying to get to the playoffs. So I get that. But are baseball and basketball more entertaining now, in that basketball has gone to the three and paint and free throws, and baseball has gone to high spin rate, three true outcomes, all that kind of stuff. It's like,
I
mean, I feel like I'm watching the same team. Like, you know, you'll get this reference, but back in the day, it's like, okay, I can watch a team that's like built on power, or I can watch the Cardinals, who's built on speed, and they hit and run, and they steal bases, like two different styles. Now the styles are pretty much the same, right? Throughout baseball and basketball, they're trying to be. So I guess that's my question is, does efficiency lead to entertainment? And should that be the concern of teams? Should that be the concern of the league, trying to figure out how to get that back in balance?
Yeah, I mean, I do think the league should always be concerned with the entertainment value of the product. And I agree with you. Like, I think baseball's done a really good job. I liked when they got rid of the shift. You know?
I agree.
I think that's been helpful. Now, you're not going to be able to do anything about the spin rate and all the strikeouts. But I can tell you, like, if I'm flipping the channels and Corbin Carroll is up, I'm watching.
Yeah.
Or Ellie De La Cruz, I'm watching. Like, I want to see those guys hit the ball into the gap and then flying around the base. Like, that's fun. I like that stolen bases are kind of coming back too. Like, I think the league made some really good.
You got the bigger bags.
Yeah. I think that's smart. I think basketball, I think I give Adam Silver a lot of credit. The league a lot of credit. I think they're constantly thinking about the entertainment value and what they can do. And I do think they need to always be on top of that because ultimately the game's only as good as, you know, how many fans are watching and intrigued.
Yeah. Last year, about halfway through the season, maybe a little bit more than halfway through the season, the league decided to let defenders get a little more physical, because it was a joke early on. You could score 135 and lose by 15. I mean, that's the way the game was being played. And people are like, I thought you liked scoring. I'm like, well, I like ice cream, not a gallon at a time. Like, I don't need every game to be like 148 to 140. It's like it loses its impact. It's like when guys are hitting home runs all over the place. I'm like, I want the home run to mean something.
Yeah.
I want 140 to mean like you must have been on fire that game. But I think they overcorrected a little bit. Now it's really physical. Like, guys are grabbing off the ball. You can't move. And that's the whole freedom of movement thing. I don't mind them, like, once you have the ball, to get into you a little bit and be able to, like, be physical. Where do you think they are? Because I don't think they've quite got – I think they've gone in the right direction. I think it's better than what it was. But I still think they're searching for that sweet spot.
Yeah. I think the league overcorrected a little bit. I thought last year was a joke. Guys were flopping and flailing and getting to the line 15 times. And then in this year's playoffs, particularly that Houston series, I mean – people are just bear hugging Steph and, you know, guys getting mauled on offense, you know, on free throw, you know, lane violations, and everybody's just tackling each other. There's a happy medium for sure. I mean, my opinion is the players are really smart and they are always going to manipulate the rules in their favor. And everything the league should do should be about not allowing the players, not enabling the players. Every time somebody like tries to draw a foul, don't call it. Like, you know, like guys hooking, you know, like, and the guys are really smart with it. And it's really hard as an official to know what's what. But I just know that no matter what you do, the players are going to figure it out quickly. And they're going to use their brain to basically manipulate the rules. And I just think there has to be a way to make this about make officiating about, all right, players, you're not manipulating anything. If you do, like, there should be a no bullshit rule.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you enforce that. I don't know how you do it, but any player who tries to manipulate the rules, you don't reward them at all. I think that should be kind of our baseline. This is where we're starting from.
I think if you bullshit, Ed Malloy had to come up to you and go, bullshit, bullshit. You're not getting that.
Fair enough. I'm all in. I'm in.
All right, let's go to some other fun stuff. Give me your favorite athlete growing up.
Ooh, favorite athlete growing up. Reggie Smith from the Dodgers.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I loved Reggie Smith.
I was a Reggie Smith fan.
He was, the batting stance was so menacing.
Yep.
He had the fro coming out of the hat.
It wasn't quite Oscar Gamble.
Not quite Oscar Gamble, but I was a huge UCLA fan.
Yep.
My dad taught there. We went to the games. Huge Dodger fan, huge Laker fan, like all LA stuff. Hated the Angels, but loved the
You
Dodgers.
Didn't even know the Angels.
I didn't even know they
then.
existed.
They weren't even good enough for you to even. It's funny because I was a Dodger fan too until probably mid-late 70s, and they got rid of their whole infield. I was like, all right,
I'm done.
I was like, fuck these guys.
Yeah,
I'm out. You hung with them.
Yeah.
But I was like, nah, I'm out. And it was easier for me to get to Angel games too.
Yeah.
Living down there. Yeah. So we used to go
my dad and brother and I would go to Dodger games. 4 or 5 games every summer. We'd sit in the bleachers. It was, $3 a ticket, $1 parking.
Ticket.
It was a $10 day. And we would bring in a jug of lemonade and tuna fish sandwiches.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You were allowed to bring in food.
Wow.
And so it was a $10 excursion. And my dad would bring the New Yorker magazine.
Yep.
We'd go early and watch batting practice. And my brother and I were dying to get a home run ball in batting practice. And we never got one. And one day we walked below the stands to the concession stand. My dad said, "You guys want to get a hot dog?" And we were like, "Hell yeah, we're tired of the tuna sandwiches, Dad." And so he gave us $5. We went down, we buy a hot dog, we come back up. This is like 45 minutes before game time. Yep. So batting practice is just wrapping up. Our dad's reading the New Yorker and holding a baseball. And we're like, what happened? He's like, Bob Watson just hit one out and it just bounced right to me. My brother and I were so pissed. We're like, we've been waiting for this for our entire childhood. We never got one. Dad just,
wow.
Yeah. But he would read his New Yorker. He loved the games, but my brother and I were just there for batting prep for the whole deal. You just sit there. What a great day,
Wow.
And that's why, to me, that's why I still root for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Reminds me of my dad.
Yeah.
Reminds me of my brothers. Reminds me of my childhood. And that's what I love about sports is just the generational connection, the memories. It's pretty awesome.
When you didn't get the foul ball, did you look at your dad and go, first the egg and now this? Fuck. I'm never going to get lucky.
And I can't win at anything.
Oh, and you got a Dodger dog.
Yeah.
Easternmost in quality,
westernmost in flavor,
absolutely.
as Vin Scully told us every commercial.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't know what that means.
Nope, no idea.
But we just know that he said it. And when Vin says it, it's true.
It's
okay. When Vin says it, it's just
wisdom.
It's true.
It's just
that's
wisdom.
It.
Yeah.
Like if you don't believe what Vin says, that's a you problem. Okay. I'm not even a Dodger fan, but if Vin says it, it's true.
It's the truth.
I don't even care because Vin was. I don't like the Dodgers, but I like Vin. And if you don't like Vin, again, that's
on you.
That's a you problem. Give me the most pain you suffered from a sports defeat as a fan. Not as a coach or a player, but as a fan, as a young kid, whatever, how old you were, like the one that felt like a mule kick to the gut.
UCLA, USC.
Okay.
So my dad was as I mentioned, professor at UCLA. So he was a Middle East history professor. He took a sabbatical to the American University in Cairo.
Okay.
And so we moved to Cairo when I was in 6th grade. And that was like at the height of my UCLA fandom. And I think it was Terry Donahue's first year as coach, maybe. Dick Vermeil had just left. They won the Rose Bowl like in 76. and they beat Ohio State, Woody Hayes, and that was like the greatest sporting event I had ever been to in my life. 10 years old, we go to the Rose Parade, we go to the game. They weren't supposed to, they win. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. So the next year we move to Cairo. My brother and I are like the biggest UCLA fans, right?
Yeah.
Obviously pre-internet, all that. So we were diehard UCLA fans. We didn't get the scores for 3 days because we saw it in the Herald Tribune.
Yeah.
Herald Tribune was published in Paris or London. You'd fly it to Cairo 3 days later, right? So the game would happen on a Saturday. My brother and I are like, what happened? I don't know. Like, we couldn't call home. It was too expensive to call, no internet. So UCLA and USC, I think they were like number 1 and number 2 in the country, like both undefeated or both, 10 and something, whatever. Game, it was for the Rose Bowl, potentially national championship. We have to wait 3 days. So Saturday, the game happens on Saturday. Monday and Tuesday, my brother and I are like, what do you think happened? I don't know. So he had practice at school. We went to the American school in Cairo. I finished school. We know that Tuesday or Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
The International Herald Tribune's waiting at our house. So my brother's like, you got to go find out. I run home. Herald Tribune waiting. I'm like, oh, we lost. We lost. So I go back to school. I find my brother. He sees me from across the way. He's like, and I'm like, and he like slams his hand. He's pissed. I'm pissed. Like, it took us 3 days to find out. It was definitely the most devastating sports loss of my fandom. Yeah.
The Kerr boys took it well.
Kerr boys took it well. 3 days later.
3 days later, delayed reaction.
Yeah.
What was the most embarrassing moment as an athlete? Little League, Pop Warner, basketball.
Yeah, man.
Anything that happened. I slid into home one time, came up 3 feet short.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank God he threw it over the catcher's head.
You still scored?
So I got up, dusted myself off, and then walked and touched home plate.
That's fantastic.
I was out by a mile. I was like,
you got lucky.
How do you slide and come up 3 feet short? I mean, just an embarrassment.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you look back on?
Yeah, we played the Knicks in the playoffs when I was with Chicago, and I got 2 straight steals. And this is a playoff game. So I think John Starks bringing the ball up. I anticipate the crossover. I steal it, and I go up, and I miss the layup. Like, just, it was like a really easy layup, and I just missed it. Literally the very next play at the other end, I go back. I'm like, oh, I make another steal. Like, 2 straight steals never happened in my entire career, but it happened in a playoff game in the Garden. I race down the floor, and I think like Anthony Mason is coming. I look, and as I see him coming, I take a look. The ball flies out of my hands and out of bounds. I miss a layup, and I turn it over on back-to-back steals when it was just an easy layup. That was embarrassing. So
we got the 2 steals.
2 steals, no points.
No points.
Yeah. Analytics department wasn't that impressed with my steals, Tom. They didn't turn into anything.
They were not that impressed at all. I've never asked you this because I've asked you. I just kind of circle back about 20 minutes ago because I wanted to ask you. I've asked you what you got from Coach Jackson. I've asked you about Pop. For some reason, maybe because I always think NBA, I don't think college. What about Lute? Like, what was it about Lute that you kind of still use and hold on to? I wanted to make sure I asked you about Lute because obviously I played for him as well, and he was just, I love Lute. What was it about Lute that resonated with you?
Well, first of all, I had no idea when I got there what like high-level basketball was about. To that point, I had just played every sport, and I liked basketball, and, got a scholarship offer at the last second. It wasn't like I, knew how to, be a high-level player or build, So the first thing was just the program, like the way he just took care of every single detail. Like, he built that thing. He knew exactly what he was doing. So it was just amazing to watch the whole thing unfold. I mean, I got there a year before you did. It was or maybe 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
And the program was rock bottom, 4-24 the year Lute arrived.
That's right.
And so really worst program in the country. And he built it from the ground up. So to see the progression of how he did it and the consistent effort and every single day, the detail, it was incredible. I think fundamentally he was as good a coach as anybody. The other thing I took from him is I looked at him a little bit like I looked at my dad. Like, I think I knew how much he cared about me, and I trusted him, and I was a little bit afraid of him, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really, not that my players are afraid of me, but I think it's a really powerful form of leadership when there's a sense of belonging and, like, you know, the coach cares about you, but like there should be a little bit of respect.
Yeah.
And, like, there should be a little bit of fear. And it's different at the pro level, but still, like, I was a little bit afraid of Phil. I was a little bit afraid of Pop. And I would hope that our players don't want to let me down.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't want to let Lute down. You know, I don't want to let Pop and Phil down. Like, I think there's something about that dynamic that Lute had that resonates with me still.
No, definitely the fear factor. There was definitely...
He was pretty intimidating.
Definitely. Oh, he was real intimidating. There's no doubt about it. Like, he get his point across without cursing, because Lute didn't curse except for one time that Steve and I could both vouch for, that Lute never acknowledged. It was against Duke. We were playing Duke, and if I have the story correct, Danny Ferry was over by the bench.
Yeah.
And we're getting some calls that game. I think I went to the free throw line 15 times that game.
You did?
Yeah. I think I went a ton.
I think I went 15 times the whole season.
So Ferry was complaining about the calls, and he goes, "Nice home job you guys got going on here," indicating that the refs were fixing the game for us. And Luke goes, "Oh, just shut up and play." Or he goes, "Oh, that's bullshit. Just shut up and play." And Steve and I were like on the court. We're like, "What?"
We had never heard him swear.
Never heard him curse.
Ever.
And then here comes Coach K come bombing down the sideline. Don't fucking talk to my players. Coach K didn't mind cursing, by the way. So Coach K comes bombing down the sidelines, getting on Lute, and Lute, waves him off like one of these. We go on to win the game. But yeah, he still to the day he passed, he would never admit.
He never admitted.
Nope.
But you and I heard it. He said bullshit.
Never. They did never. He was so funny. At some point, we'll have to tell the jerk off story, because that's a pretty funny one too, involving Lute. Okay, I've asked this of a number of guests that have come on. What was the one meal your mom made that you couldn't wait to get to the dinner table for?
She made a baked chicken that she'd put it in a big pan. I have 3 siblings, so my mom had to cook a lot of food.
Yeah.
And you'd bake a chicken in a big pan, like that big, with potatoes, carrots, celery, soy sauce, and sherry.
Okay.
And bake for,
Sherry?
hour and a half.
The Journey song? Oh, Sherry.
Similar but different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The flavor of something about the soy sauce and the sherry. And when I became a father and, started having to cook and make meals, I made that dish for my kids growing up a lot. And it was something about the way the flavors went into the potatoes and the carrots. Oh, incredible.
Incredible?
Yeah, it's my mom's favorite dish. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
What is the one thing? Probably tacos. Tacos. I don't know if it's Tuesdays, but the thing about the tacos wasn't so much the tacos themselves, because there wasn't anything special about the tacos. It was ground round, and she'd fry it up and fry the tortillas, and they would have cheese, lettuce, salsa. So it was pretty standard. but she would do it every time all my buddies came over.
Ah,
so it reminds me of my buddies coming over and hanging out, and we'd play cards and eat tacos and this. And then after I went to play in the NBA, they would come over because I got my parents a satellite dish, one of those big fucking honking ones.
Yeah.
It was in the backyard. It's like NASA in the backyard. This thing was huge, right?
The old days.
It's like turning.
Right.
I mean, it was amazing. You can watch the highlight in China on that thing. It didn't matter if it was on TV. You could watch it. So they would watch when I was playing in Orlando. Let's say I had a Friday night game, she would still invite all my friends over
for tacos.
So they would all come over for tacos and watch me me play. So probably tacos, and then I'll answer this and I'll let you answer because I was going to ask you what's the one meal your mom made that you did not want to come to the dinner table for, and mine was meatloaf.
Yeah,
like I couldn't stand meatloaf when I was younger. I love it now. Meatloaf's great now, but back then, meatloaf was. I didn't like meatloaf, and she always used to, I don't know why, but lima beans would come with the meatloaf, and I hated lima beans. And they made me eat them until my grandma back in Alabama, we went to visit her, and I would choke on them. Like I just couldn't get them down. There was something about the texture of lima beans. It was like I'd try to swallow, be like... And my grandma said, why are you making that boy eat lima beans? And they my dad wasn't going to say anything to her, obviously. Yeah. So that was the last day I did lima beans.
Your grandma got you out?
She got me out. But before that, I used to have to sit at the table because my dad would do you can get up when you finish the lima beans. So I just sit there and look at them. And I was like, I'm not eating them. I can't. It's like... There's like 10 lima beans, but it looked like a fucking mountain of lima beans. Like there's no way I'm making it through. So I found two incredible ways of getting rid of the lima beans. One, back in the day, I don't know if you guys drank milk at the dinner table.
We did.
Okay. So we drink milk. I'd leave a little milk left. I'd spit them into the milk. I'd just act like I was eating them. I'd spit them into the milk. Good. And then I'd go, I'll do the dishes. And then I'd just go dump them out.
Pretty good.
Or if that didn't work, there was a ledge on the bottom of the dinner table. I'd line them up along the bottom of the ledge. I just had to remember to get them later. Because sometimes I'd forget him and it'd be like 4 days later, I'd go, oh shit, the lima beans are still there. So I'd have to go clean them off so my mom doesn't find them. So yeah, it was lima beans for me that I couldn't do it. What was the one for you?
I don't know, but that reminds me of a terrible joke my dad used to tell us, which we thought was hilarious. But, if we didn't finish our meal, he would say, kids, you have to eat every bean and pee on your plate. And we were like, we got every bean and then pee on our plate. And you're little, you think jokes like that are hysterical. And so my dad would say that, but no, our mom was a good cook.
Yeah.
There was a tuna casserole that she would make that I wasn't a big fan
Wasn't
of.
crazy.
Yeah, but that was about it. She
okay.
Yeah, but
I did get in trouble one time for speaking of food. I convinced my brother Jeff, who's 10 years younger than I am. Imagine my surprise. Hey, you had a brother. You're 10 years old. You're 10 years old. You're the only kid. You're like, that's bullshit. What do you mean, brother? Get out of here. No, I love Jeff. But anyway, Jeff was probably like 3 at the time, maybe 2 or 3. And I convinced Jeffrey it'd be a good idea to try some dog food.
What a great big.
And it was like that cow can, like that wet stuff.
Wet.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
gross.
I didn't realize, like, it never really resonated with me. Like, this little guy could talk now. So, this come back to trouble. Yeah, this come back to backfire, which it did. I mean, he told the mom that I fed him some dog food. So my mom did what she should have done, which I'm all for.
Smacked you.
No, didn't smack me. She made me eat dog food. I'm all for frontier justice, like eye for an eye.
Yeah.
So she goes, okay,
all right,
you're going to eat dog food. Now, whereas I gave Jeffrey a teaspoon, I got a full ass like tablespoon. Like it was a thick.
Yeah.
And not only that, it was a fresh opening, so I got the gelatinous fat stuff on the top that I had to eat as well. Oh,
How was it?
Oh, it was awful. I thought getting the lima beans down was tough.
Yeah.
Getting this thing down, because I was like, okay, just swallow it quick. But I couldn't swallow. It just sat there. And I was like, I almost had to grab my hair and go. I pushed my mouth to kind of grind it up and get it down.
That's a good move by your mom, though. I respect that. Yeah.
Guess what? Never did it again.
I bet you did.
Never did it again. All right. What was this is a 3-parter. What's the most trouble you got into as a kid? What did you do? And what punishment did you receive for doing it?
I forged my mom's name.
Wow, criminal.
No, not on a check. Not on a check. Come on. No. On a note to the teacher.
There you go.
I forged her name.
You're like Epstein.
Yes, a note to the teacher. Please excuse Stephen. Please excuse Stephen from class today as he has a doctor's appointment. And Z. Kerr. Yeah, I did that. And my mom found the note. Yeah. So.
And punishment?
I think she slapped my leg. My mom used, that was back in the day when it wasn't frowned upon to strike a child.
Yeah.
She didn't,
Yeah.
But she would, slap the leg. It wasn't very.
Wow. What torture that is.
Well,
I wish I could have traded places with you.
Yeah, but
my slapping wasn't so genteel at all.
Well, it started with the slap, and then there was a grounding of some sort. But the main punishment was shame. I felt shame.
2 minutes in the box.
Kind of like shame. I knew you would get that reference. I knew you would get the slap shot reference.
I feel shame.
I feel shame. I felt shame, Tom.
Spend time in the box. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't get that kind of treatment. My dad was a spanker. And it's so funny now.
My dad was a spanker.
Oh yeah.
A phrase that I never thought I would hear anybody utter, but there it is. Yeah, my dad was a spanker.
Yeah, not as much with Jeffrey, maybe a little bit less, but I wasn't.
Yeah, no fun.
Yeah,
different era, Tom.
I got my backside painted red plenty of times. It was a different era. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I don't even mind that era. I think there's got to be a threat of violence. You don't have to go to violence, but I think there's got to be at least a little. It's got to be a threat. Because if you don't threaten, they're just like, fuck you. What are you going to do? You're not going to hit me. You're not going to hit me at all.
Sounds like you speak from experience. Is that what Weston and Walker were saying?
Yeah. I mean, they probably got, But it's more not about if it's right or wrong. Because I try to tell people, I go, I don't remember going to jail any time in my life. I don't remember doing anything ridiculously stupid. And I made sure I put ridiculously in there because I did some stupid stuff.
Some stupid stuff.
Yeah. But, that was the way my dad taught me. And I'd like to think I'm a decent human being and I treat people with respect. I just think there's different ways of going about it. But it was more about me because they probably caught 2 or 3 spankings, maybe. And then afterwards, I was like, God, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Like, it is. And like when my dad told me this is as hard on me as it is on you, I was like, yeah, my ass. What are you talking about? This is killing my ass right now. I don't really see. I don't see how this is tough on you. Doesn't seem like that
nowhere
big a
close,
deal.
Dad. Yeah. It's nowhere close.
But I get it now because when I did, I was like, oh man, I'm such an ass. Like this is like I don't. And then we just went with the grounding. Like I got grounded all the time. Yeah. All the time. I got in so much trouble when I was younger. But even that, I mean, look, let's be honest. We're a much softer society now, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, we just are. I mean, we treat kids differently. We got to make sure everybody's coddled and we don't hurt too many feelings. And, I don't know how you feel about this, but if you coached youth sports, right? And the mantra in youth sports was always, make sure they want to come back tomorrow. Make sure they're having a good time. And they almost fucking got me on that. And then I thought, well, how about fuck that? How about they learn something out here? And how about we try to teach them how to win? And how about they'll have a better time if they understand the game more and they actually win instead of saying, hey, Jimmy, you're picking daisies. You're doing a great fucking job. How about get your head out of your fucking ass and fucking pay attention to what we're doing over here?
This is why I love this guy. This is why I love Tom Tolbert.
And maybe you'll learn a little something. Like, it's like, really? Oh, he's just having fun. Like, I'm not your fucking babysitting service, okay? If you want to play youth sports, play them. Don't you, right? I mean, how do you feel about that?
No, I'm with you. So my older two were total jocks. Matthew, my third, comes around. He's 5, 6 years old. He sees his siblings playing, and he's like, I want to play soccer, Dad. It's like, great. And we knew, like, he hadn't been into sport. Yeah. He wasn't shooting the ball on the little Tykes hoop. He was drawing pictures, and like, really? You sure you want to play soccer? He's like, yeah. So take him to soccer practice. He's really excited because he gets the uniform. Uniform. He has practice. He comes home. I'm like, how's practice? He's like, oh, it's okay. And like, all right, when's the first game? Saturday. It's like, all right, take him to the game Saturday. It's one of those like 30-yard soccer fields with the small goals. Kids run up and down twice. I look over. Matthew's lying on the ground picking a daisy. I go, what's going on?
Sorry, Matthew.
And unlike you, I didn't say, what are you going to fucking pick a daisy there, kid? I didn't say that. I said, what's going on, Matthew? He goes, I don't really like soccer. Can I have a Gatorade?
Yeah.
I said, okay. I get a Gatorade, come out, hand him the Gatorade, take him home. I go, you don't really want to play soccer, do you? He goes, nope. That was it. That was the last time he ever played sports.
That's all you need.
Honesty, Tom.
Honesty. You started with honesty, talking about you and talking to the team and Steph and all that.
Circle back.
You end it with honesty.
Circle back.
It's a big
if everyone is honest with each other.
If everyone's honest. Yeah.
It's an easier world to live in.
But you realize, look, I don't need soccer to act as a babysitter for my son Matthew.
No.
Right? And then some parents do. They're like, well, you'll take care of him for 2 hours. I'm like, well, I got kids out here that actually want to learn how to play. And I'd like to teach them how to play.
That's right.
This isn't a fucking gardening class, okay? We're trying to work on baseball here. I mean, Jesus. I mean, you want some fucking Scott's turf builder? Fucking go home, kid. I'll get you some of that. I'll get you a 10-pound bag over at the nursery, and you'll be good to go. But that's okay. Like if kids don't want to play, they shouldn't.
Exactly.
Find something you love to do. Find something that excites you. Like sports always excited me.
Me too.
You too. I mean, so you go to practice, you can't wait. Like I remember baseball. I couldn't wait to put on my stirrups. I couldn't wait to put on my baseball gear. I couldn't wait to put on my sleeves and my hat and then, wear my shoes, got my cleats ready to go for practice. Like I was so pumped to get out there and work on sliding, work on fielding, work on this. That's not for everybody. And that's okay. Just don't have kids be out there that are, and don't have parents that have too high of expectations of their kids, and don't have parents who are trying to get a scholarship for their kids who are never going to get a scholarship. Like, I don't care if fucking 90% of the kids on earth died. Your kid's not getting a scholarship, okay? Okay? They would just cut the sports down. They would say, look, you're not good enough. We're not giving you a scholarship. Go away.
That's true.
So don't try. So it's just like, I just want parents to be realistic.
Which leads to, I think, another part of this conversation, which is you talked about baseball.
Yep.
I loved baseball.
You love baseball.
I played Pop Warner.
You did play Pop Warner.
I played soccer. We ended up playing
basketball. Played soccer?
1 year.
Oh, wow, I never played soccer.
Yeah, 1 year. But you just, back then you played whatever was in season, and that was it, and you moved on to the next thing. I think it's something that is really missing from modern parenting, childhood, sports. Kids are all specializing, and they're using the exact same muscles all year long, and they're exact same part of their brain, and they're not meeting different coaches and learning different games. I think the best athletes are the ones who played multiple sports. Steph Curry.
Yep.
Mookie Betts,
Yep.
Tony Kukoc, Manu Ginobili, the soccer influence, Steve Nash, like the seeing different ways of
LeBron played football.
Yep. I think multiple sports is a huge benefit, and nobody's doing it anymore, and it bums me out.
It really does bum you out. It bums me out because I think parents and the coaches are also partly to blame. They're like, well, if you want to play football, then you can't play this sport because it overlaps with our sport.
Right.
And I think all the coaches are doing that because they think, if you're I got news for you, high school coach. If you're a baseball coach, the Yankees ain't fucking scouting you, okay? Okay? Just coach the sport, okay? And it's okay. Like, they can come from different sports and still play. They're not showing less of a commitment because they want to play basketball before baseball season. But no, I think mentally, at some point, you're probably going to become less and less stimulated if that's all you've done for 10 years.
Yeah,
like, I don't know about you, but football, basketball, baseball, football, basketball, baseball. Once basketball season was over, I couldn't wait to get to baseball.
The next season,
I couldn't wait.
Season,
And then once baseball season was over, it's summer. It's like, okay, we got football.
Yeah.
And I played a couple years of Pop Warner. I didn't play high school football. That's one of my bigger regrets. But if I had to play one sport and just say, okay,
you get fried
for like 8-9 years.
No, you'd get
and I
fried.
think you're so right, using the same muscles. And the same,
and you see athletes who played multiple, like Patrick Mahomes, when he rolls out and the pressure's coming and he throws that little sidearm pass, like there's his baseball. That's him turning a double play. It's like you can see multi-sport athletes in the way they move, the way they flow. There's a different Steph. I see it with Steph all the time. Like Steph is he was great at everything. I mean, world's best hand-eye coordination, but whatever he played, and that's why so much of this stuff translates because you're using different skills, different brain cells, different. It's just. I think it's something that's for sure missing.
Well, Clay was a really good baseball player, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think he played with Kevin Love up in Lake Oswego, up in Oregon. You told me one time that you guys were throwing a football. You had a football in practice, and the three best arms on the team were Steph, Clay, and Mo
Buckets, Mo Spates, yeah. And not coincidentally,
and you said he had a cannon.
He could throw a football 75 yards. He had an absolute gun, but not coincidentally, those three guys were our best shooters too.
Yeah,
and I think there's a connection, just the hand-eye and the ability to throw and shoot. Anyway, it was it's fun watching those guys throw the football around.
Did you ever go to hockey games growing up?
No, but when I lived in Chicago, I'd go to Blackhawks
games.
Yeah, those were fun. But I never played hockey.
And that was probably, God, I can't even remember who was a member of the Blackhawks back then.
Roenick,
Roenick
Chris
was
Chelios.
There? Oh, Chelios. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I remember when they had Tave.
Yeah, that was a little after.
Yeah, I was like, 8, 9?
Yeah, I think so,
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
All right, before I let you go, how long are you going to do this? How long do you want to keep coaching?
It's this point, it's year to year for sure. I have 1 year left on my contract. I have no expectations beyond that. I think where we are organizationally, this thing is winding down. Hopefully it goes another couple of years and hopefully I'm part of that. But it's like, you get to this point, it's like, I don't need a contract extension.
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy next year. I can't wait to coach, Jimmy, Steph, Draymond with a full season. I think we got a chance to be really good. So I'm going to enjoy next year, and then who the hell knows what happens after that.
What do you consider? Money's not a factor. Is it just, do I want to get up every day and do this? Do I still have the juices for it? I know how much you love sports.
Yeah.
And I know even after you get done coaching, we'll be in our mid-70s. We'll be texting each other about the games that are happening because that's who we are. We just love watching sports. But how do you look at is it just, do I want to go to practice? Do I have the because there's a lot on the plate.
Travel.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what's gonna make me quit. I love the job. I love the emotion of it. I love the relationships. I love the coaches' meetings, the strategy. You get to the playoffs, and it's like, oh man, it's so fun putting together a plan and working with the players. I love all of it, but the travel is brutal. It's so brutal. And there's just going to come a time where I'm like, I land, 3 a.m. from Memphis, and I'm going to be like, okay,
I'm fucking done.
That's it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
All right, last one. I see you got an Augusta National shirt on, which, by the way, Steve got me an Augusta National hat. Thank you very much. Yeah. Appreciate that. What'd you shoot there? Because you played there a couple of times, haven't you?
I have a good friend who's a member there, and he's taken me there 3 or 4 times.
And his good friend, by the way, came to our golf tournament and slept on the floor one time up in Tahoe.
That was the last time he came to your golf tournament, too.
I didn't know he's a billionaire.
More importantly, he slept on the floor next to your friend Woody. All-time snorer.
Oh, it's like a chainsaw. It's like a chainsaw.
I'm pretty sure my friend Jeff, who's a member at Augusta, I'm pretty sure he's the only Augusta member who has ever slept on the floor next to Woody. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say. I don't think I have any Augusta members going to my golf tournaments in Tahoe. I'm pretty sure that's fair to say. So what'd you shoot when you were there?
Low 80s,
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
It didn't feel like it was that hard. Like I've always left feeling like I should have shot in the 70s,
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm like a 4 or 5 handicap. So it's like, it's probably about what I should shoot, but Augusta is amazing. But it's not that panel. Like it's pretty wide open and, you're not going to lose a lot of balls. But the greens are so brutal. Oh my God. It's like, and by the way, when I say I shot in the low 80s, that's with, it's a couple of 3-foot gimmies where, you're putting for somebody goes pick it up. I'm like, okay, I'll pick it up. So, I don't know if you saw this, but there was something going around this year before Augusta. Somebody put out on the internet, if you took a 10 handicap player and told him on every hole for 4 rounds, you could place the ball at the furthest spot on the green from the flag.
Yeah.
Could he win the Masters? Meaning, okay, first hole.
Okay.
Your first hole. Yeah, your first shot, you are just putting from the very farthest. My first thought was, hell yeah, you can win the Masters. Like what? Yeah. And then when you go there and you think about it, no, not a 10
really?
No. Because there are so many 3-foot putts from above the hole that are going to turn into 20-foot putts from below the hole because you just like the greens are like so hard. But it sounds crazy, but I don't think that person would win the Masters. I really don't.
Wow. That's wild.
Because there'd be some 5 putts.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. Somebody put it out there and it was a discussion and
Did you get to any of the par 5s and 2?
Yes. 15.
Okay. The one over the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last par 5. Yep.
Yeah. Hit a 3-wood into the bunker on the right.
Okay.
So technically I didn't hit the green, but I got there greenside bunker. The hard part for a guy like me or you is that like to reach one of those, you got to hit a wood. Like, I mean, Steph was there. He get home to, on one of those par 5s with an iron for sure. He hits it so far. So then, those guys on the tour, like they're hitting, the sky high, but, my caddy told me like, you're lucky you hit that trap on 15, because
would you have gone over?
You just would have gone right over because it was a 3-wood. It would have gone all the way to the back and into the water near 6. But what a thrill to play that course!
I gotta imagine.
It's pretty awesome.
How tight is it's a par 5 after the par 3? I think it's 10, 11, 12, 13, where it's a dog leg left.
Mm-hmm.
Because that one they always get home. It's only like 480, right?
Yeah, it's not that long.
But you got to shape it.
Yeah.
To get it there. Yeah. What was that hole like?
I didn't even think about getting home on
No?
that. No, I guess I thought about it, but it wasn't, much of a possibility. But no, it's awesome. I mean, the whole thing is like you're playing these holes that you've watched, your whole
Is it
life.
like you've gone back in time?
Yeah.
It's like $1 for a hot dog.
Yeah.
This and that.
The tradition and the history and all that. And it's pretty special place.
That's great.
Sure.
Stevie, thank you very much.
That was awesome.
I appreciate it. Yeah, that was a good time. Next time we'll all go through. I see your scar on your right knee. We're going to go through our scars. I'll show the one on my chest, and I got a bunch of my arms. We could do like a scar.
Our viewers would be fascinated.
They probably wouldn't.
Be like that scene from Jaws, like this one came from Great White, and then the guy looks at he looks at his appendix.
Quinn. Richard Dreyfuss and Quinn. What a great movie. I haven't seen that in so long. Well, tell everybody I said hi.
You too.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Enjoyed it.
All right.
I'm taking this beer home too.
Yeah, I think you should.
Oh, no, you drank it already.
I'll get you another one. Is that okay?
That's fair.
What do you think? I was going to fucking leave it there? I did one of these. I was like looking around going, I'll just take his. He didn't want it. That's okay. I bought it for you anyway. Look, I know Steve loves his lagers. So there you go. Thank you, Ghost Town. Actually, fuck you. I had bought them anyway. So I'm going to buy more because I do enjoy Ghost Town Brewing. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Peace. We appreciate it. And we are out.